Welcome back to another episode of Spiritual Teachers Podcast. With me today is my dear friend Soma. She goes by Raha now, but I know her as Soma. So she's transitioning into the name Raha, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's such an honor to have you on. Raha is a somatic and sensory meditation coach, a musician, and a ceremonialist. Her work is all about education around emotional wellness, self-development, and spiritual growth. Raha works with large groups, small groups, and companies. So it's such an honor to have you on today. Welcome on, Raha.
It's such an honor to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me and wanting me to be in your podcast to share about my story and my life, basically. I'm excited for this conversation.
Yeah, we got a lot of really interesting topics to talk about, and I can't wait. Raha came to Las Vegas, and we're recording live in Las Vegas from San Diego. So we just did one of your beautiful events, the Raha Show, and we'll talk a little bit more about that throughout the podcast. And it was really beautiful. So I'm so happy you're here.
Same. I'm extremely happy and excited to be here, meet new community in Las Vegas, learn and share, and be with Las Vegas people. I'm excited. So this was the first travel, and I hope there will be many more. And we've been talking about this podcast, and it's beautiful. Today is the day.
Yep. Yeah. It's been many months in the making. So
yeah, almost a year.
Yeah, we're doing it though. And the topics we're going to cover today, potentially, right? The podcast has been known to go on different topics, but today we're going to talk about the Sufi people and their religion. It's a religion, right? It's a form of religion.
It's a pre-religion, so kind of like a mysticism.
Okay.
And yeah.
And then the Whirling Dervishes, and then somatic expression and the science behind it.
Yeah.
And so we got some really powerful podcast for everyone. So as the podcast usually goes, I'd love to invite you to share how your awakening journey started.
Oof. How much time do we have? To just give you a little overview of my life and how this happened. I grew up in Iran, Tehran, till I was 25 before I moved to USA. I would say I was exposed to a lot of music, movement, and different type of engagements that when we will gather together, we will have things that would just felt like that's the way of living. Cook together, eat together. When we eat together, not talk or play instruments. Some people get into a group and dance together and go into very cathartic expression and have a peak and come down and be like, oh, okay, we did a great party. And just a lot of in the streets, TV, engagement. I was exposed to a lot of art and creativity and a lot of wisdom of the Sufis just as a way of being, not going out of my way to studying them. I also got a lot of suppression and conditioning for women is what's happening in Iran to actually suppress my expression. And that also influenced me a lot in a lot of ways till I moved to USA and I start living in Chicago for first 3 years of my move here. In Chicago, I lost my whole community, the people I grew up, people who we were doing these type of gatherings together and being together, and then different climates, not being able to speak the language, expressing myself the way I used to, and lack of music. The music completely stopped, the togetherness stopped, a lot of things stopped in my life, and it took my health the first 3 years just like fast went down, and I started having major mental health discomfort. I would have anxiety, depression, and major panic attacks that I would just not make sense. I wouldn't be able to handle myself. So I had to go to really heavy medication to numb me, because I had a lot of energy was coming, and I didn't even know what was happening, these panic attacks and migraine. And then I had a couple of near-death experiences that just started the whole search, I would say, for me first. The last thing happened was my L5 and sciatic nerve that starts shooting all the way to my left leg, and I could barely walk, and I was in disability and mental health, and all of them. It was a really tight, dark place. And I remember my internal process was in this place that, I'm only 30 years old, why this is happening to me? And the doctors were like, I was an athlete growing up. I played a lot of volleyball, dance. I danced a lot, and ping pong. And it was really hard for me to think that I'm not able to dance or carry my instruments or go intense movement. I was in a victimhood, and I would sit every day and cry, be like, why this has happened to me? Why? I can't believe I'm so young. And there was a point that I realized, so what? Because every day I was grieving, and not even really actually grieving. I was just like sad internally why my health and my psyche is in this place. Until I had that point that, okay, so what? It has happened. I'm here. What am I going to do with it? And that moment that I shift my internal process of being a victim, I was done being a victim. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take this victim to a victory. I'm going to figure this out. If not, I'm just going to figure out how to live my life with these conditions. And I feel that was the beginning, the whole energy shift inside of me, and being able to listen my own thoughts, listen on my own internal process, that I'm just sitting and crying about it, and that's not going to do anything for me. And the moment I did the intention setting and asked in the universe to help me, lots of ways starts just pouring like rain. So the universe is directly connected to our own internal process. And I start being exposed deeply to yoga, to tantra. I got a lot of books and teachers, and some plant medicine started helping me to figure things out, to what are my steps. And that was the beginning.
What year was this? Do you remember?
It was 2012.
Okay. That's when I started too.
Yeah. Yeah, that was 2012. And I started. Also, I got introduced to a Native American couple who were holding sweat lodge ceremonies and sound journeys, and I started going to lots of sweat lodges, which we were drumming and singing, and it was super cathartic, and yelling and screaming. Every time I did it, I would come out and I would feel that my nervous system is actually calmer from drumming and chanting and moving and being with a group, praying together. I could sense it with my system perfectly, little by little, how my nervous system was calming down, how I was processing all of my trauma, all the emotional baggage that I was carrying in my body that I haven't processed for many years, and they don't go anywhere. They were all there. But I could feel it little by little that I'm calming down, my nervous system is regulating, and I'm in a better place. And I never forget that they told me that everything balances each other. Day, night, birth, death. This is the world of opposition. They're not separate. The heat and cold. Day
it's just a spectrum
night,
of the same thing.
Same thing. And any disease has a remedy. Any disharmony has a remedy in nature that we can find, and it happens to bring that curiosity for us to seek. And it's such a beautiful pleasure to experience self-healing,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to hit the uncomfortable spot, but then also finding tools and techniques that you actually are aligning yourself back. It has such a pleasure. So when that sentences sat with my spirit, I was like, okay, this makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Any disease has remedy. Even if I moved my bones and they're not in a good place, I'm going to move my bones.
Mm-hmm.
And I did. Like I literally stretched my spine and released my nerve pain. So that was the beginning. And the first 3 years, I would say I was just like swimming and figuring things out. And within the third year, I knew for sure I'm healing, because I put all the medication aside. The panic attacks went away. I was able to stretch my spine and release my nerve pain. And I've been mostly pain-free since 2015. It's been amazing.
Amazing.
And then I never gave up. After 2015, 2016, I started sharing the wisdom and the codes I got to heal my psyche. And it's been so fun.
Yeah. And you've definitely been doing it. We've done a couple of events together in San Diego, and I'm really curious how what drove you to go from Iran to Chicago, of all places, and then from Chicago to San Diego?
It was all family based. I got married, and my ex-husband's family all were in Chicago, and you have to go there. And then I had families here and friends that my parents, because I was going to move back to Iran. I said, if this is USA, I don't want to be here. I want to go back to my friends and play music. But I was lucky enough that my uncle in Encinitas invited me to come and test out California, test out San Diego before I moved back to Iran. And here we go.
Thank God for that. Is he still in Encinitas?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think I ever met him.
Yeah, no, he's a very busy man.
Okay.
He works in Orange County.
Okay.
Yeah. I met him first time when I came to stay with him. It was all phone calls. I never met him, but my parents did the whole coordination because they didn't want me to go back to Iran. And then I worked.
Encinitas is one of my favorite places in the world.
Yeah, it's in its own hub. A spiritual hub.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's where we met, was Encinitas. And yeah, it's a really special place. Yogananda's energy just holds the whole town and ripples out through the whole city.
Yeah.
It's really special. The meditation gardens in Encinitas are my favorite.
I think he knew, and he started a vortex, and it is like, look at how many people are doing yoga in San Diego. It's amazing. Yeah.
Well, Encinitas in particular is at 33-degree latitude. And it runs through to his other ashram further inland, and then it goes through Mount Palomar. So all those are like sacred vortexes throughout. So he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing, picking those spots, even though the universe kind of picked them for him,
Yeah.
Yeah. So your journey with the Raha show, how did that start to evolve? And can you share a little bit about what the Raha show is?
Yeah. Well, the name Raha in Farsi means the state of deliverance, where you're not attached to anything, whether it's good or bad. You're absolutely present and free. Kind of refers to a liberated deliverance. And show in Farsi means become. Just the sound of show in that Farsi language is become. So Raha show means become deliberated or deliverance. And in English, I realized a show is a show. So I chose the name for that. I also have emotional attachment to this name because it was the name of my sister who is in spirit at this moment. And she has been one of my biggest influence while she was alive. And then after she has passed also, her spirit's been guiding me. So the name is just coming to me, and I chose the name for the workshop, but now a lot of people start calling me, and that's why I'm transitioning to the name.
Raha.
Raha is a space that we actually meditate. One of the first thing I realized that still meditation wasn't really working for me. I was sitting down and accelerating my thought process, but I was thinking I'm meditating. Because the stillness, everybody was talking about stillness, and I couldn't find the stillness. And I would practice the meditation, but I wasn't. Because when I found the meditation space, I was like, oh, this is what I was trying to achieve with sitting still. I've had a lot of energy all my life growing up, and that's why I play drums, because I feel a lot of chi in my hand and I don't know what to do. So just playing drum is very helpful. When I realized that when I sing and make steady, long sound, I am clean, I clear. There's no thoughts. So I found the meditation in active meditation and creativity. And when I found out, I was learning music with notes. I put all the notes aside. I said, okay, this improvisation, this creativity is a medicine, is what my soul been searching for, creativity. And creativity, especially with my body. Our bodies are our main instrument here to play with. So using my body, moving with certain speed, which these were the ways of Sufis I was exposed to that I didn't fully even know the meaning of it or the science they're holding behind it. So first step was I realized that the creativity and movement meditation is a thing, and it's helping me. I was going to drum circles, shaking my body. I realized shaking was very important. Watching dogs, cats, birds, they shake multiple times a day. And that like little shake they do, they're actually regulating their nervous system. They're going from fight or flight to a relax. So we have two nervous system modes. There's parasympathetic, which is relaxed. The sympathetic or fight or flight is when there's danger or something is happening. Your nervous system switches, and then we have to switch it back by shaking, and that's what the dogs and cats and birds doing. They just do a little shake and they switch their nervous system. So I experienced war when I was 6 between Iran and Iraq, bombing, and we had to leave the city. So I was holding a lot of trauma, and I feel like for 20 something years I was on fight or flight. And that's what causes a lot of our mental health issue, because we don't have a sense when this nervous system is switched, and we don't have the tools to switch it back because of a lot of its social proper behavior. No one's really shaking or sounding like releasing. So when I found that, I knew that it's a very important message. And then throughout the experiences that I was holding with my friends or participating, I came into the creative expression. And I realized how creative expression is actually important. The expression that I don't use words. So Raha, we don't really use word in the Raha space. We use expression and emotional resonancy. And I realized, that's actually very important to be creative and express what I feel. And that's a medicine. That was a medicine for me. And then the second part was what was helping me being seen in that space, and also holding space for other people. So all of those little gatherings first with friends that we would just be free and play drums, scream, express, become primal, make animal sounds, make dolphin sounds, which I'm very famous for. It looked like we're doing some silly stuff together, but that's actually was the healing was happening. I started bringing into my friends, and I was holding an experience called Somatic. We would do Qigong and motion meditation, some sounding together, but not going into the deep Raha show. I call it the show because it's like life is like a live theater, and we're all on the stage right now. We actually can heal, and I can bring this to more public. And I read the book, The Body Keeps the Score. And the last chapter, it talks about this, how they did the research with veterans, and they made them in 2 groups. And the one group did talk therapy, and one group, they just made like an AA meeting, and they kept meeting and expressing and harmonizing with rhythm and music. That harmonization also is a key, which I'm going to talk about it a little bit. And it made it more clear that what I'm doing is actually correct, and what I'm discovering, what I'm uncoding, it's the way of healing. And I made it into an experience that we shake, let go, and we use our voice. Our voice is also directly connected to our nervous system. That's why when we hit ourselves to somewhere, or when we're really sad, without editing or imitating, the sound comes like or crying. The voice is directly connected to our nervous system. So when that happens and you see your voice, then to go to your nervous system, you can use your voice to go to the nervous system and regulate it.
To tap into those feelings and emotions. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
And I really like how when you're leading the Raha show, you give logical and scientific explanations for a lot of things. I really appreciate that too, because my logical mind is like, okay, that makes sense. Now I can just experience and be, right? And I really like how you bridge the science, but then you just let all that go, and then just are so present in the experience. And for whoever gets an opportunity to try the Raha show, it's really, really powerful and awesome. So I highly recommend it. And in terms of the body, we were just talking this morning about how the bone marrow in the body is particularly important. Can you share a little bit about why?
I mean, just looking at nature, it gives me this understanding too. If you have a seed of an apple, what's inside of the seed is all the information we need to have an apple tree. And then you just put the seed in the soil, and soil as a magic powder gives you the tree. We also kind of have a seed, our own seed. Our seed will be in our spine. And then a lot of religious or different spiritual ways, they have a snake, and the snake refers to our spine. And our spine is holding our blueprint DNA, or our bone marrow holds all the information, how to be a complete human. And as a way to how do we access it? Because now there's a lot of people calling, you hold everything you need. And it is true, because no flower or no tree goes to school to learn how to fruit or bloom. We all carry everything we need. We are born with it in this body. But the whole fun part is, how do we discover? How do we access these information and bring them into life to have a more easeful, peaceful, joyful life? So our spine holds a lot of, holds all the bone marrow holds the information. And by going in there with movement is how we access those information. Sometimes we can have a clear insight. You see the image, or like I get insight for my next show or for the podcast, what I need to talk about by moving my spine in a certain way. Like one of the Sufis is figure 8. It's a way to access it. And another way to access things, which comes from the Sufi wisdom, is repetition and duration. So let's say you want to access your bone marrow information, you can choose a figure 8, some sort of a movement that is very spine centered, and you keep that movement for half an hour. And that will be the sequence. Third thing is the sequence to, Yeah,
in Kundalini Yoga, we have an exercise that I used very often in the warm-ups called the Sufi grind. Where you're sitting with your legs crossed, and then you're just doing circles first backwards with your spine, and then
the other
and then you switch directions after about 3 minutes. And it's it's one of my, I really feel my spine opening up, the base of my spine. And then I sometimes will have some lower back pain. So it just clicks everything back in and allows for that foundation, right? The foundation of my experience to then grow from there. So,
yeah, or in Qigong, we have the spinal breathing, which your spine is always have this fluid wave, and you connect your breath to that movement. And,
Did you, did you find a Qigong teacher, or how did you connect with that?
Oh, that's a really funny story. So when I had my lower back pain, the L5 sciatica, one of the medication that I was on the Xanax, codeine, and a lot of medication that was numbing me, and I was actually constipating me. And then doctors referred me to plant medicine and cannabis. I was prescribed when it was illegal, and I used that. It helped me to go to my pain. It wasn't numbing me, it was actually enhancing. But that enhanced pain, it started making me go into my spine. And I started moving and trying to find the pain and move the pain. And that was one code. And finding every time I would find emotional baggage in my hip area or my lower back, I would feel it rising and moving it out with my hands and with my body. And that's one of the reasons I started the Raha, especially the slow wonder walk, I call it, that we move really slow. And I start feeling so I realized not only I'm healing, but I'm also developing sensitivity to Qi, to the life force that exists. And I start moving with it, with my hips, with my spine, with my hands. And I went on a date in Topanga with someone I dated 2016. And he's like, I want to introduce you to Qigong, and I think you will like it and you will open up to it. I was like, I have no idea what's Qigong. What is Qigong? He's like, it's playing with Qi. I was like, oh, I never heard of it. And something happened in the mountain. He was going really fast, and it was the beginning of my healing, and my L5 came back. Like on the mountain. Yeah. It starts pinching my nerve. And I had to excuse myself. I said, hey, can you hold on? I need a 10 minutes practice to align myself. And I start going in the rock and doing my movement and Qi and aligning myself. I was like, all right, my pain is gone. He's like, you were doing Qigong. You were basically doing everything our teacher is teaching in Qigong class. I was like, I was? And that's why I say we have everything we need, like flowers and trees. I like to give credit to ourselves that we can uncode and discover these methods. They're all the ways that other people have tuned in. And that actually made me interested to go study, like taking classes and be with people who doing it, because I was like, oh, I'm doing Qigong. So that's how I got introduced to it, by my pain. Yeah.
And it resonated a lot what you were saying about how your pain activated and gave you these awarenesses of the Qi in your hands that, drumming would help release. I was having a lot of similar experiences in the beginning of my awakening, and I had to learn how to ground that energy because sometimes it would get intense. I would get like tingling in my hands, but then I learned that it's a gift. It's like Reiki is another word for that energy that was flowing through me. And then I found my Reiki master teacher, and she took me through the levels, and I was able to use the Reiki and channel the energy and move it out of my body and help others heal with it. And it was just beautiful because it's all connected, right? The Qigong, the Reiki, the spine, the yoga, it's all just different flavors of the same thing.
Yeah, playing with life force.
Yeah. And it makes so much sense that the bone marrow would hold our blueprint, because the bone is so hard, and it's so, especially like in your legs, it's really, you really gotta, jump off a second or third story building to break that bone, or get a really powerful karate master to kick you, but it makes sense because it's protecting that, right? Like the bone is naturally protecting the precious DNA and the blueprint that we come here with. And then you have the myofascia, right? Which surrounds every cell, every muscle, everything. And I did some training with that because my background's in physical therapy, and I worked with John Barnes, who's like the guru of myofascial unwinding. And he was orchestrating everything as if it was a ayahuasca ceremony. Like nobody was on anything, no plant medicine at all. And he never actually sat with any psychedelics, at least not ayahuasca. And I remember I had gone to see him like maybe a month or two after I had my ayahuasca ceremony. And I was like, man, you're doing the same thing here. It's just, you're not using anything external to help you get to those places. And what was difficult though, was he was taking on the energy and holding it inside himself. And he wasn't releasing it. So he was just like carrying hundreds of people's energy that they had released in his body. And it was like heavy. Like I could see how heavy it was for him. And like, if he was able to purge and release and clear all that, it would be a very different man sitting there, So, but I thought that was so fascinating that how the myofascia was holding all these memories, because we're talking about the blueprint of past lifetimes and of trauma that was blocked and pushed out of my mind. That like, as a little kid, this other little kid tried to drown me. And I remember thinking like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. But while I'm doing this myofascial unwinding, I'm making the motions like I'm drowning and I'm trying to swim up. And then the memory came back as I'm doing that. And it was just so interesting to tap into that, because I was like, oh, it wasn't that big of a deal. But then it was, because at that time at 9 years old, because it was traumatic. I thought I might die, And so for some reason I pushed it down and didn't think about it until this experience. And I was able to unwind all that in my body and then rewrite the script of like, this little boy that was doing that wasn't intentionally trying to harm me. He was just moving through his own stuff, and I can forgive him. We were both 9 years old, right? And that forgiveness just opened up something, and then more started opening as I kept forgiving and really genuinely processing. It like started tapping me into past lifetimes, which was really interesting. And it wasn't linear. So I'd have like a recollection of like being in Colombia as like a tribes member there before the Spaniards invaded or during that time. And then I'd have like other experiences and other traumatic experiences. And then it all accumulated in me learning, like retrieving this energy somehow. And then like calling on my power and really learning to unwind myself, knowing that I didn't need anyone else. I could just go into that space and my body would just start doing what it needed to do, the shaking, but it was more than that. It wasn't just forcing the shaking. It was the body doing things like moving the shoulders. And there's these techniques you can do, like apply 5% pressure on the suboccipital ridge underneath the head. And then it starts to open all that up. And I was the only one in my class in physical therapy assistant school that I was able to fully unwind. It took me like 5 hours.
Wow.
And I remember going to a movie, sitting next to my buddies, and my shoulder was just like twitching and freaking out. And they were like, "You all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just still unwinding." And then when I let my body but I could control it, right? I could stop it when I needed to drive. But then when I got home, I was like, I'm fully surrendering and letting it go all the way. Mm-hmm. I woke up the next morning like a brand new baby. It was amazing. It was really amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fascia is also another whole magical between the physical and energetic organ.
Yeah. It actually responds faster than the nervous system. So when you touch something like really hot, it's not the nervous system. The nervous system's firing to let your brain know, but the myofascia reacts quicker. Mm-hmm. It moves your hand off before the nervous system gets the message. So
wow,
it's really interesting.
And I love the fact that you said the memory. So it does hold the memory. Another thing we touched point in the beginning about shaking. So shaking is also really good because when you shake your flesh, you shake your fascia, you're really erasing memory too. A muscle memory, the memories of who we are, what we are, what's right, what's wrong. And when you shake or allow, the best place would be allow the body shake it, because the body perfectly knows where you're holding those tension.
Yeah.
And when you allow the body shake, then it's literally an erasing mechanism that's erasing your memories, that's causing you pain. And I also heard from one of my naturopathic doctor friends that they observed fascia, and if you do move, let's say you move a lot to this way from your dance, from drumming, because I play my drum, the fascia moves with you this way, and I hold that memory. And if it stays one side, that's how we start having different pain. Like you say, my left hip hurts, or my left, and the pain is really a signal. We're so afraid of the pain. We think when there's a pain, we should just avoid it. We should numb it, take medication, numb it. But the pain is a signal from the body to address something. And if we go into the pain, it actually helps us to figure out what's happening and harmonize and align whatever needs to be aligned. We don't have to make a scientific sense out of it.
Right.
You just let the body do it, and then we'll be in such more better place. So she was saying, if you move this way a lot, to balance it out, you have to move the other way. So all my dancing moves and drumming and everything was on this side. I start doing them with my other hand, the dominant, and a lot of my pain starts going away too. So that was also another epiphany, that how wrong it is we call ourselves right-handed or left-handed, and we do a lot of delicate stuff, detailed stuff with one hand, opening the door, cabinet, the car, everything is with one hand, one foot, one leg. And it's so important to switch the dominant first to balance it out, because you have done a lot of fascia on this side. Now you want to move the fascia to the other side, and then you want to have a dance between the hands. Right, left, cutting, cleaning, everything. Brushing your teeth, eating your food. It's very important to use both of our hands and not just call ourselves one hand. And that's for the fascia and the information and balancing.
Well, the body is so fascinating because when I start working on someone with myofascial unwinding, the body will literally light up red in the spot where it wants me to go.
Wow.
And then there's just like a 5% pressure, pulling the skin gently, and then just holding it. And then the body will start to unwind it. And then when that area is unwound and clear, then another area will light up red, or it'll tingle, or it'll let the individual know where the energy's being stuck. And while you were talking about balancing both sides, it made me think about acupuncture, because let's say you have low back pain on the right side, they're going to put needles on the left side to balance the energy. And they're not going to put the needles right into the pain. No. They're going to balance it out. And that's all that's happening all the time, I believe, is like we're trying to find these homeostasis And when we're not in a stressful place, our body knows what to do. But when we're in constant stress, the different sides, the different parts of the body start to get out of balance. I really have learned that the right side's more masculine, the left side's more feminine. So if you're having more of like pain on your right side, that means your masculine's out of harmony in some way, right?
Yeah.
Those things, they're connected to what you were saying, right? It's really fascinating.
Yeah, and I learned from Osho in one of his Book of Secrets. He has 112 method practices to how to be one with intelligence flow. And he said, which it made sense before reading his book, and reading his book was another affirmation for me that this is my main practice. He said, switch your dominant, and that's your major spiritual practice, switching your dominant, and starting having a dance with it. So no left hand or right handed. And it's so true. We think there's going to be so many crazy, complex practices out there to evolve spirituality. But it could be so simple. Just switching your dominant hand in your home is the most potent way to evolve and bring deeper presence. Because when you also switch your hand to write, to cut, to do the things, you need your total awareness with it.
Yeah.
We memorize, and it's the automatic, does it for you, driving and everything. Then you can start daydreaming. But when you use your non-dominant hand, you have to bring focus to not cut yourself, to how to write, how to hold a pen. And it was such an epiphany for me, because I'm sure you all can resonate with this. We write with right hand, right?
Most of us,
how nicely you write. And then you just hand the pen to your other hand. It can barely write.
Yeah, it's like going back to first grade.
So how there is this one body the brain cannot operate to do the same thing you're doing with the right hand, to do it with the left hand instantly, because there's two aspects of us, the masculine and feminine. And literally we have two parts of the brain that are not connected. They are its own individual entity. So handing the pen, I was like, oh, this left hand doesn't even know how to write. Okay, hello, I've been neglecting you my whole life. Yeah. And that was a proof that there is two aspects in me, and I need to work with both. And when I did martial art for a few years, kickboxing, I started kicking so much better with my left leg than my right leg. And I asked my trainer, why is this? Because I'm right-handed and right leg. How come my left is better? And he's like, because it's been thirsty. It's been waiting for you to train it with something. Like dogs, how they're waiting for you to play with them and teach them some tricks. He's like, your left brain has been so thirsty for your attention and your playfulness. So now it's killing it. It's doing an amazing job because finally it gets, action. Yeah. So it's very important to use both hands, both legs, and have a dance between both of them.
Yeah, that's a really good reminder. I really want to start doing that. I want to start brushing my teeth with my left hand and
eating your food.
Yeah,
these could be the simple practices that you don't have to put extra time to go out there and improve your spiritual growth. You can just do the same thing you've been doing and just change the way they're doing, and it has the most impact in your awareness, in your presence. And that will be, just brush your teeth with the other hand. Put a reminder, eat your food with the other hand, open the cabinet door, or cutting. These are,
that's a great practice. I'm excited to get back to that. There's been a time when I wanted to do that, and then I kind of forgot about it. So it's a good reminder.
Yeah, which I think this makes it a great time that I know you wanted to bring in some of the Sufi wisdom that I know.
Yeah, I'd love to transition.
We have a 40-day practice. So Sufis and there are different practices between this Iranian Sufis, Persian Sufis, or Pakistan or Turkey. They have their own spices, but the main core wisdom is the same. And we have a practice of, we call it Celle Nishini. And Celle means 40. So you meditate on something for 40 days. If you want to change a neurological pathway of approaching something like this, like let's say your right hand, every night you brush your teeth with right hand, you make sure for 40 days you monitor yourself to do it with your left hand. And when you do monitor yourself and you put a check mark for 40 days, that's when you finally have all the receptors, and it goes to that involuntarily space that involuntarily you're going to start, without thinking, you're going to start using your other hand that you haven't been using. But that 40 days is essential, because if you do it for a day or two, you're going to forget, because your body is so addicted. Even though that's another magic to know about our body. If something, we do it all the time and it's disruptive to our body, the body gets addicted to it, and it's going to keep craving and repeating it. And it's us to come into it and be like, oh, okay, I need to make an action. And that's why sometimes it's really hard for people to quit smoking, to change their diet, because they're so addicted to what they're doing. But this 40 days sitting, I find it so helpful. And it's something that we all did. Like, if anything I wanted to change, my mom would be, why don't you sit the 40, do the 40? And you monitor yourself for 40 days, you check mark, you make sure you do it 40 days, and then it goes into your super subconscious for you to do it involuntarily. And
well, that's fascinating, because in Kundalini yoga, that's how long you're supposed to do a Kriya for, is 40 days.
These are all science-based.
It's a magic number. People don't realize that.
Yeah.
And 40 days for most people isn't very easy to get to.
And it's actually not hard.
It's not hard either. Yeah.
Exactly.
But
Just
most
40
people
days.
think it's a long time, right? And they're like, oh man, that's so long. But, in Kundalini yoga, it's 40 days. Then if you really love the Kriya, you do 100 days. And then if you really feel the benefits, you do 1,000 days. Oh. And I did one 1,000 day Kriya so far.
Oh, which one was that?
It's called the Subhag Kriya. It's for prosperity. And there was a lot of downloads through that process, because I did it with a broken hand, I did it with 104 fever, with COVID. I did it with no matter what, right? I did it traveling. So, but yeah, back to the Sufis, right? So what they would say to do 40 days of something, or were there like set programs or exercises, or was it just like 40 days is a magic number? Just do.
You can make any practice to 40. The 40 days is how long it will take from your brain and their senses to signal and have that connectivity to do it effortlessly. But then there are practices like, some people go really deep and they do 40 days of not talking. They do 40 days of not eating certain food that they really love. So it helped them to have self-control, or just rest the body, fasting. So there are some science which movement and sound and fasting, some of the practices you do, and there's some of the practices you do daily for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, anything can be a 40.
Okay.
Anything you want to change, like just how we made an example. If you want to switch your dominant and have a 40 day, have a notebook, start check marking when you do it, monitor yourself, and then you don't have to monitor yourself.
Okay, that makes sense. So just to rewind it a little bit, for the Sufi people and the Sufi way of being, is there a book, like, in Islam there's the Torah, and Christianity there's the Bible? Is there something like that with the Sufi?
There is a lot of different books, but not like something like a Bible.
Okay.
Like a Quran or Kabbalah, or I know all the religions, they have it.
That's what I meant. What I meant earlier. Yeah.
The Zoroastrians, they have it, the Avesta, but that's not referred to the Sufis.
Okay.
But there's a lot of different books from Gurdjieff or different masters that you can find. I like to go to the poetry So Rumi.
I was just going to say, Rumi was a famous
Hafiz,
Sufi. Mm-hmm.
Both were famous poets that their books actually are all transmissions. Rumi's poems, even the translations, if it's done right, it's all spiritual wisdom and ways of growing. A lot of Rumi's book is also referring to Tantra philosophy, which is beyond duality. He has a lot of poem that's saying that there is no duality. And he brings the awareness of respecting both and knowing that's all divine playing. The angels and the devil, they're all serving us. So we, and how my dad loved to do it, he wasn't very into like religious. He would do it with music. So a lot of the Sufi stuff that I know, it's all the practices instead of reading the books. So I would say if you want to know more Sufism, go read Rumi and Hafiz.
So with the Sufis, you can become a dervish, right? Did I pronounce that right?
Yes.
And can you share, is there an initiation with that?
They do initiate in like temples and some places that you go study. But other initiation would be just you start noticing when you're becoming a dervish, which I also would say how, based on what Rumi speaks and what he did, he went from really studying and having his followers based on philosophy and study until he met Shams Tabrizi, which it was his master, and they kind of disappeared together for more than about 40 days or more. There are so many different sources, but they disappeared. He left all of his disciples and following to study with Shams, and Shams brought him into whirling. Sama dance. The other practice I would say with Sufism, which I really am drawn to, is he says, close the book. You are the book. And he found God in his movement and in his voice and his expression and music. And he refers into, if you want to study God, go whirl, go spin with the spinning planet. And I can say a little bit about that the whirling dervish is whirling, right? They wear these dresses, and you don't have to wear a dress, but they make it also a beautiful visual art when you watch it because it's hypnotizing. But the science behind the sama dance, which is whirling and spinning, first you're honoring this. A lot of them spins to the left because the planet spins to the left. So they honor the feminine, the left, and then you spin to the left to honor the spinning planet. And the second is when you're whirling, you're spinning, that continuous calculation of the time and space is a way to push you to that meditation or samadhi or MT, or in Sufi they call it union with God and divine, making love to divine. So there is a book, and everybody has the book. So we can all go spin and whirl. Even if you've never done it, you can just start stepping and whirling as your own speed allows. And that also has something to do with the spine. So spinning in one spot, it also fully gets you into your most center core of your being, which is the fluid in our spine. And while you're spinning, while I spin, I literally have insights and epiphanies and breakthroughs. Sometimes I'm in the middle of my spinning, I just have this cold sweat comes and I can't move anymore. I just lay on the ground and cry, or I feel like I have so much love I don't know what to do with, but it's a way to go. And yeah, since I'm not a super analytic person, it worked for me. So I love dancing, I love whirling.
So traditionally, like you were saying, you go to the left, and then is there a moment when you'd switch?
A lot of them don't, but okay. I do, because now I feel like a lot of people also, as we evolve our consciousness, understanding how it is important to do both
Mm-hmm.
sides, but definitely left is the major with the Sufis, to spin to the left. Most of the time I spin to the left, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I feel like I need to balance. I spin to the right to balance my masculine and feminine.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mhm.
And what's the recommended amount of time to spin for?
In the beginning, if you've never spin before or done the whirling, you may start getting nauseous if you push yourself. So that's your limit.
And probably don't do it right after eating.
Of course, no,
Yeah.
empty stomach, for sure, empty stomach. And do it until you can't. You notice it, your body starts getting heavy and your circulation becomes heavy and you don't want to move. And it's better to not push yourself. Lay down. Maybe the first month you can only spin for 30 seconds. Maybe the third month you can spin for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Different speed too. You can change the speeds. And it's very simple. You just step to the left, step and meet your step, step and meet your step. And something I can help in the beginning, if you see everything spinning and you're dizzy, you can look at your hand. You can hold your hand and look at your hand while you're spinning. Not closing your eyes. Definitely not. I find a lot of my students, or people who I dance with, they close their eyes. No, not. And to continue the conversation with your question, how you get initiated to the dervish, it's a common thing, people, they say you don't call yourself a shaman. People should call you a shaman. It's kind of the same thing in the culture that I was exposed to, or my family were from Tabriz, where also Shams was Rumi's teacher. You don't really call yourself, okay, today I'm a dervish. When your community is witnessing you, then they start calling you, okay, this person is becoming a dervish. And for me, is being a dervish, it's kind of saying emptiness, but when you become empty, you get filled with what the truth is.
The spirit.
The spirit. So the more I let my ego go, the ego death, and the more material didn't have excitements for me as much as the depth of my experience. So I was careless into owning. I was careless into making sure that I have this and I do this. Then that you're becoming a dervish. You're becoming a person that can live with nothing, basically. Just a piece of bread or, a date and a banana, you survive. And that's kind of known as a dervish who doesn't have much materialistic desire. And it's very clear. It's not something you license. It's a way of living. People watch you and they're like, oh yeah, you're living the dervish life, or you're not living the dervish life. And I feel like that's the most way of understanding nowadays. We also have a lot of spiritual teachers that are popping out on Instagram, and everybody's having a platform and trying to teach. But we can also just observe where they're at, how they're moving their body, how they're speaking, and how we feel and how do we resonate. Who cares if they have thousands of licenses on top of each other? Are they embodied? Are they integrated? Then yes, I will trust this person or not. And we can be a judge to it ourselves without just like ignoring, be like, okay, if you study, done.
And so the main practice for the Sufis is the whirling. Are they also meditating? Are they doing any other practices?
Yeah, so exactly. I can say the work I do is our active and creative meditation, and that's what they do. Sufism is a mysticism of Islam, so there's a lot of similarity. Before Islam was like religion to be.
It was like the precursor to Islam, right?
Sufism. And then I read in Osho's book that before Sufism was Tantra. So basically Sufism is coming from Tantric lineage, and then the Islam is coming from the Sufi. And in Islam, these are the practices I also did because my mom did a lot of these practices. So you have a 5 times a day practice of moving, which is very similar like Qigong, moving and sounding 5 times a day. So one of their main core wisdom is combining the movement and sound as a way to even get deeper presence. So that's a daily practice that everybody kind of has to do. And then when the Sufis come together, there is a portion that is a talk, but very minimum, 10% to 20% of the journey is talk. And then they get into music and movement and sounding. So some of their core wisdom I can share is repetition, duration, and a sequence. So what sequence you choose, and what you mentioned earlier, that you can have an altered state without taking any substance or any sacraments. We can have an altered state with having a specific sequence, repetition, duration, and the very most important ingredients, the group, the community, togetherness. So they move together. This is something I grew up doing it in parties, not knowing that we're actually performing a science here. We hold hands and we move and sound together at the same time. And this was something I grew up with. And when I started searching and seeking more spirituality, I sat for 5 days in my patio with very minimum food, no internet or any communication with the digital world, and also no communication with my immediate people. Like I was by myself mostly, observing nature, and I saw birds and a lot of different species of birds and animals during the sunset especially, and some during the sunrise too, birds. They come together. If you look at these little birds in the sky, you may catch this yourself too. They fly in some sort of a geometry, and they are chirping, they're sounding. The crows do it too. And some of them, they go up, they come down, and they have this expression together for about an hour or so, different with different species. Every day they were coming together and sounding and moving, going up and down. And that's when I had the epiphany moment that, I'm healing, but also this is what the Sufis are doing. This is what it means. And it made sense. I started understanding the wisdom of human synchronization and group flow and how important it is. The epiphany was, so when the birds are moving like that, they're syncing their neural pathways.
And the nervous system, it becomes like one being. Yeah.
One being. So they can exchange information easier. They can understand each other easier. So this is how they stay sync.
Right.
And so
they don't even think about it.
You don't have, just, which now a lot of people know what I do. They send me different articles. And now the research is actually showing the science aspect and proving this. So this is not some sort of poetic imagination anymore. They did the measurement on people's hormones. So if a group of people, they test all the hormone levels, and then they start moving together. And the more they become sync and fully harmonized with the movement and expression they're doing together, it's exactly the same and fully harmonized, the level of serotonin, endorphin, dopamine release increases like dramatically. It multiplies.
Yeah.
So not only we can get altered with the tribe, but also our intelligence multiplies. And that is said in the book of Stealing Fire. Jamie Wheel speaks about it, how they do it with all different type of like Navy SEALs projects, athletes do it, musicians do it. There are moments that the whole group moves as one organism. And I was a volleyball player in Iran. So I knew those moments. I sensed them when we were perfectly unmistakable in the flow and doing things that we couldn't even imagine, but it would come in the group because we accelerate, we multiply that energy together. It's just designed this way, this planet. So this planet is designed for us to be together daily. And that's another reason I brought Raha experience here, even in this modern life that we have a lot of individualism being promoted, and we have our own cars and our own homes and not together. At least we can come together and honor these ways of being that our body needs it and is so thirsty right now to keep our psyche in a peaceful space, because our physiology is directly connected to our psychology. So if we come together and do these movements, at least we're more at peace, and we can be more creative, more innovative, and bringing new ways, and keep our bodies fully activated. That helped my psyche so much. The more I move, the more I express, the more I start building a community and be with the people. And that bond actually is so needed.
Oh, yeah.
To have a community that you repeat seeing the same people.
Yeah.
And you bond and you bond. It's so important. So these are all the Sufi practices. And another signature thing that I like to share from the Sufis is a lot of us want to have a better IQ or higher IQ, or have a deeper awareness. Let's say, what is a spirituality? What is evolution? It's all, where is our attention? Where is our awareness? And how deep and high resolution can you take this reality? So how do we do that? How can I expand my IQ? How can I expand my awareness? And that is not by reading books or going to a seminar and boom, tomorrow you're smarter.
Right.
So what the Sufis do, which is always a question for me, why they do, is a mathematical layers of expression. So I'm sure you've seen it in Raha. So we, let's say we keep a pattern with our feet, and then we keep a pattern with our hips, and we bring a snap into it, and then we bring a head move into it. Then you're holding many different levels or layers of expression. And how long can you do this? That is how we actually expand our awareness, literally. That's how we expand our neurological communication with ourselves and space and surrounding, is by holding multiple layers. So one of the best things, simplest thing, is everybody have a little medicine drum or like a bass drum that you can hold a rhythm, and then you can sing on top of it or just sound on top of it. That's 2-layer. And if you're holding your drum, and there's some tradition in Sufis, they step drumming. So not only they're drumming and singing, but they're walking the circle and walking the circle. So you maintain your awareness with multiple, and that pressure and push you do to do them all together in perfectly harmony is the push we need to expand our neurological system. So it's really what we do with our body, not what we read or what, we analytically we process. That wouldn't help you. That's just a realization. So that's what the signature mathematical layers with the Sufis too.
Yeah, as I was doing these more complex movements where I'm singing, moving, many, like 3 or 4 layers, right, of my body synchronizing, I recognized that later on, when you were teaching just like a simple step, normally that would have been challenging for me. But here it just clicked in so easy, and I was like, oh wow, it's working. Like that was the moment when I was like, okay, this is really cool. Yeah. Because I know that with those kind of steps and movements, it takes me a few times to get it, but this time right off the bat I had it, and I just kept going with it. So I think it was because of those parts of my brain being activated, and having to regulate and manage several activities at the same time. That was really cool for me to experience that. And I love as you're teaching the class or the show, there's these codes that you express and share about. And I feel like it's important to share those, not only with the Raha show, but with the world, right? Yes. So can you share some of those?
Yeah, I mean, I would say a lot of the things we've been talking about, all codes.
For sure.
As of switching your hand and whirling, spinning. The biggest covering, I would say, headliner code would be physiology is directly connected to psychology and vice versa. So we can affect. And the codes of shaking, sound. I expressed our voice, how important it is to use our voice, non-intellectually, not verbally, not by this language, by creativity. And one of the most important code is I see a lot of us, we don't use our voice because we call ourselves, I'm not a singer, or I can't sing, I'm not bored, that's not my thing. I don't think any bird or any animal, they said, I'm not going to use my voice because I'm not born that way. So, and then on the other side, we're all thirsty for information. We want to evolve and improve. How do we improve? How do I have an understanding, a better understanding of my emotions? That's a code. We use our voice. You use your voice, then using the voice because it's our vibrational aspect of us. Using the vibrational aspect, it gives us a vibrational understanding of ourselves. So I'm going to understand my emotions better. I'm going to understand your emotions better because I'm using my voice. And it's a code. And they call it mysticism, mystery science. There's no way that you can break it down logically. If I tell you you're going to feel certain things if you use your voice for 30 minutes, there's no other ways for you to experience it. So you just have to use your voice for 30 minutes to see what kind of a feeling or awareness it will evoke in you. And these are the codes that I'm saying, or how to become smarter. So we call it somatic codes or combos. Because I see this life in a video game. Not just as some people say game is not the very good word to use it, but it is kind of like a virtual reality. These bodies feels like a glove or some sort of a suit I'm wearing over my spirit. And based on what combo you do with them, like your literal video game, what button you push and the digi guy in the TV is going to run or pause or stop. So the reality is that digi guy land and the body is the controller. So what we do is very effective on what kind of reality we're experiencing. So,
with the piece that you first mentioned, the physiology and the psychology, can you elaborate a little bit on that code?
Like shaking, as we spoke about it, when I wasn't moving as much of my body, my mental state was really in a really dark place.
Okay.
So it was uncomfortable. It was signaling. It was attacking myself. And the first time that I did the major shake, physiologically, I was active. And I didn't know what this is going to do for me. But after I was done, my psychology was completely at peace. So whatever we do, or I do motion meditation or sensory meditation, let's bring this new code. Sensory meditation, so we have bright features in our instrument: eating, touching, smelling, hearing. So these are all our major features that were designed. And each sense is a doorway. Each sense is a code. So if we meditate with eating, if we meditate with sense of smelling, if we meditate with the sense of touch, they're all codes in a way that it will help you to uncode or access somatic information you're holding in your body for your existential curiosity. It may not make sense to you if I say, have a smell of a favorite flower or oil and do a 10 cycle a day. Smell and go into its pleasure. And somebody will be like, well, I'm so busy. Like, I got books to read or I got things to do. But that's actually a code to be connected more into the spirit world, our sense of smell. And not just smelling, like putting aside,
Mm-hmm.
going deep into the sensation and the pleasure of it.
Mm-hmm.
This planet is designed with pleasure. We can actually access everything we need through the pleasure of our senses, but it requires our total presence and awareness with it.
Yeah.
You can't eat something and talk and get the same benefit that someone who eats and close their eyes and go fully in. And that's what another thing Sufis do when we eat. I grew up like this. I didn't know people all talk about over their food. When I came here, it was very different culture shock for me. And hard because I wanted to close my eyes and eat food, but then everybody's talking, asking questions.
So your whole life growing up, you never talked at the dinner table?
With family in Iran, no. Even when we had relatives.
Everyone had their eyes closed too?
Some had their eyes open, but a lot of us eyes closed and just like we'll and we all start the same time.
I bet as a kid that was tough because you just want to talk and play, right?
Yeah, or you want to start eating as soon as they put the food on the table, but then you have to sit and wait for everybody to come and who's putting the food and preparing the food, but we had to learn how to wait, and then they'll make sure everybody's sitting, so that brings the other code of when we're all sync, our intelligence multiplies. Like I didn't go study this, but it was such an importance in our families with meal. Every single meal, we had to wait. Everybody's there. Even if it was 20 of us, we had to wait. Everybody's there. We will have a check-in. Okay, ready? Everybody has the food in the plate. Bon appetit. Nusha Jun. Nusha Jun. We would start eating. And then there would be short conversation. Give me that or pass me this. But no talking about your life or telling a story. It's just actually disrespectful to the food. And we do have 2 doors to our body, which is our roots for reproduction and sexual pleasure. And then this one is to pleasure with all existence, to make love to the sun and the soil and the fruits they give you. It's a very precious process for that food to be in your hands, and having our total awareness, it actually opens up our inner verse or inner universe. If you think of it, which door is even more important, the door of sexuality or your mouth? If you have to let go one, you have to let go of your sexuality, because we won't die if you don't have sex, but we will die if we don't eat. So this shows the importance of this VR game, I call it. So that's also a code to play with your senses, to be meditative and bring the pleasure and slowness into your senses and totally embrace yourself in it. A lot of the tantric newer practices, they do gentle caresses, gentle touch on your skin, because that's also, we have a lot of nerve fibers. That's another code in our skin that goes to a part of our brain that processes emotions, and also a part of the brain that it's responsible for out-of-body experience. I think it's called angular gyrus. When we play super gentle and meditative with the sense of touch, we are going to understand more of our spirit world. I find this so fun and fascinating.
Yeah. I've had some really profound experiences with just that super gentle touch. I've had it where like my whole body's just buzzing and just like every cell just feels so alive.
Wow. So monkeys do it to their children as soon as they're born. They do this gentle caressing on them to change their epigenetic programming, because the memory gets transferred through the gene to the children. So they try to erase it and have the child have a fresh memory just by gentle caress.
Well, it's also a transference of love.
Yeah.
In a huge way, right? I feel like love is just transferring through the nerves and into the body of the other individual, who it's felt. It's like really felt.
It changes our hormone levels.
So speaking of this, did you ever study Tantra?
By Osho a lot.
Okay.
Which I can say personally, the Book of Secrets, it's 1,300 pages, but 112 method. He has somatic practices.
Okay.
Like one of them is go back sucking your food, or when you eat, just eat.
You said sucking your food?
Yeah.
Like making that sound?
Yeah, and bringing the act of suction. Like imagine if you can peel an orange and just put it in your mouth and swallow.
Uh-huh.
Or you can just cut the top and start just sucking the juice out of the orange. So the act of sucking is very important. Like children, they suck their mouth, they suck pacifier, they suck their thumb, they suck the boobs for food. Everything is sucking as soon as we arrive. So one of his practices was stare at a point and don't blink. Mind over matter. See if you can just completely stop your blinking process. So these practices, which, as I said, I wasn't very analytic. I needed physical thing to heal myself. So this book was perfect. And I did every single practice that he had for a week. And he said, choose the one that really works for you and resonate.
Which one was that for you?
Sucking, not blinking. The ones I speak about them, the sensory meditation, the sense of smell. And then he had like death meditation that worked really well for me, to play dead for as long as you can.
That's powerful.
Yeah. So that's how I study. I didn't study under a person.
Okay.
I did participate in a lot of workshops and seminars or retreats of what was around me. But Osho's books and those me being dedicated to those practices has opened me up. Also I had the background, the Sufi. We dance a lot with our hands as Persian, keep our hands in the space. So these are all, I'm realizing a lot of tantric codes comes with the hands and science of energy. So just Persians are very energetic. So I'm noticing we're so energetic. At some point I was very against it with my mom.
Against being energetic with your mom? My mom,
because I would go to school and see people do different things. But then my mom, she grew up in a smaller village and they moved to Tehran. But when I would get sick, before she thinks of taking me to a doctor, she would grab a water in a glass and start talking to the water.
Oh, wow.
And she would pray and she would blow into the water the whole day.
She knew the codes.
Exactly. She knew that she needed to talk to water.
Because it becomes medicine at that point.
And then she would give it to me at night, be like, drink this before you go to sleep. And while you're sleeping, this water is going to work with your system and it's going to heal you. Tomorrow you're going to feel good.
And it would, right?
It would.
Yeah.
But then, just being exposed in my elementary school and stuff, be like, why your mom is like that? Instead of taking you to a doctor, she's blowing and talking to the water and give you the water. But now homeopathy is proofing this, that the water transfers information. And also, so she was transferring her healing prayers through the water to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they do in the sweat lodge. They pray over the water and it becomes medicine. And then they pour the water on the hot rocks and brings the prayers up to Creator. They did a study in Japan where they had these little bottles and each one had a different word on it, like love or hate or fear. And the ones that were really loving and nourishing then they would freeze them. And the ones that had the really, really positive words would freeze into these really beautiful, sacred, geometric, almost snowflake-like shapes. And then the other ones that were fear, hate, destroy, whatever, right? Like these negative words, they were rigid and jagged and very violent looking. And it was really interesting. And our body's 80% water or more. So it makes complete sense that when it's prayed over and loved and done with intention, it literally heals us.
Yeah. So very energetic.
What a beautiful way to pray and connect with your mom. So for you that was weird because of societal judgment, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't weird till I go to school and be exposed to what's out there. And then I realized, we're so different. Just because my parents, they moved to Tehran from, a smaller town. And
That's so beautiful. Did you ever try it now in your adult life?
I do it now, exactly. In some of my smaller group experiences, I even have people to drink their water in a sucking way, like kind of like dogs, because it's bringing so much more sensuality to me. And then I started a practice when this made sense to me. I have my water on my altar in a really nice bowl. I put crystals, so I treat it as a very important entity or a matter here. Actually our life depends on it. So our breath is very important, but then the second is water, third is food. And we can die within a few minutes of not breathing and die within a few days of not eating. That shows
drinking.
the importance. Or drinking water.
Yeah.
Drinking.
Eating, you can go like 30 days.
Yeah. Well, and I still sometimes translate from Farsi to English. We don't have difference for drinking or eating. Any consumption is one word.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I have my water sitting there and talk to it and communicate just feeling wise. Even if I don't say a word, I just hold it and communicate energetically before I drink it. Now I'm just infusing these practices and changing my relationship with water.
Yeah, I've made it really intentional for myself to pray with the water before I drink it. And I'm not perfect with it yet, but last week we had a men's circle, and one of the guys, he led a water ceremony where we really prayed with the water and talked to it and just like took little sips and then just really connected with it. And some of the guys reflected that this was the first time they ever actually tasted water.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, this is powerful. And it was like a 10-minute, ceremony, and it was just so beautiful. And I was blown away. I felt a much deeper connection to the water spirit and to the gratitude of it, and just the connection deepened through that experience for me. So
it's very essential. Well, another practice of Osho book that you said, he calls it melt with your water when you drink it, and hold it as long as you can in your mouth, just not instantly swallow, and hold it in your mouth and let it melt in you rather than you just swallow it. So that's a very potent practice to change the relationship with water, is to melt with our water.
And when you say melt, is it like, is it starting with ice, or is it cold water?
Room temperature.
Just room temperature.
But melting would be the physical action of melting. So you have your water, you take a sip, close your eyes. You don't swallow right away. You hold it in your mouth and you start melting with it.
Like you just start kind of falling back.
Relaxing.
Okay.
Yeah, you relax and you start seeing actually that a lot of it gets absorbed through the mouth before you even swallow.
Really?
And then gently just like goes down without like trying to swallow.
Right.
So, and that slowness, that sensuality with drinking water, tuning into its texture, it does change something in our spirit and spiritual understanding of ourselves. Because water has a lot of information, and when you hold it in your mouth and you have the meditative attitude towards it, you can actually access more of its information with the water.
Yeah.
So for him to refer to melt with your water, his purpose is to be able to connect deeper and access the information that the water holds. Beyond any time, every single molecule of water here holds the information of this whole planet.
Yeah, Osho was really bringing some powerful aspects into this reality. Did you ever watch a show or like recognize why he had certain material things? Like he had like 40 or 100 Rolls Royces. Like I never understood that piece of it.
Yeah, he was not against either angel or devil.
Okay.
And he was not against any material. And he points in his teaching that this is a dream. Nothing is real.
Right.
So why would you want to limit yourself from having luxury? I
Uh-huh.
mean, he had his luxury at this time, but I understand his teaching was having lots of money and having a luxurious life. That doesn't mean that you're not spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew at his time, in a lot of his books, he says that a lot of you guys are not going to understand me right now. This is too early. My teachings are for future generations.
Okay.
That's why he made sure he make all these books. And here we go.
We're here.
My personal life.
Yeah.
He was a big impact.
Yeah.
His book, especially Book of Secret, transformed my life by doing the experiences. And he wasn't even alive.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm so grateful for his spirit to putting the time to make that book that came in my hand when I was really struggling in life, in a really dark place, an uncomfortable place. And it brought so much ease and joy. So I'm always dedicated to talk about him because he was a big influence in my personal life without even being alive. But his spirit is, and his information. And I do value what you're doing as a podcast is also the same thing. You're collecting information that it's important for us to move with more ease and peace, also fully activate and understand our potential.
Thank you.
It's essential to share that with the world.
It does feel like it's the majority of the audience is going to find it a little bit later, which is interesting. I have a sense, I have that sense sometimes, like we're putting it all out there, we're creating it now, and then it'll find the right people in the right time.
Exactly. My story is a big example. I didn't even know. I was just actually on disability sitting in a yoga studio. Somebody gifted me that book. He's like, I was going to throw it away. I was like, maybe you're on disability. You can read some book. Do you want to read this book? Sure. And within a year, as a new person.
Yeah. It's really, it's important. It's important to share these kind of things and to give people different ways, different walks, different approaches, different perspectives, different stories and experiences so that they can resonate with whatever they resonate with and leave the rest. That's how it was for me. It's good to have it all on the table, and then you can pick which hors d'oeuvre you want, and then leave the rest, or take a couple more and put them in your lunchbox or whatever,
Totally.
So it's really awesome. And I feel like there's a lot more we could talk about. And maybe we can do a part 2 next time you're in Vegas. You're in Vegas. Yeah. That would be really fun. So thank you so much for coming on. Raha. I'm still adjusting to that. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your experiences and really bringing the medicine to the people in your own flavor and your own way with the Raha show. And I'm looking forward to collaborating and creating more together and with other people in the future. And we'll see what the next steps look like. So I'm really excited.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure. This was fun to just have this conversation together, but also finally manifesting it after talking about it. I feel very grateful that I was able to understand these aspects of myself, my body, and be able to align myself and experience what I'm experiencing right now. And it's a pleasure for me to share it with the world. And to wrap up this conversation for the listeners, I would really love for you to have some deep intimacy with your body. That's the main relationship for you to take away from this podcast, to be curious to play with your body, to push the buttons, try to create different combos. And just that curiosity that what the body can do is one way to attract all these informations and codes come to you, because the reality is alive, is intelligence. Nature is intelligent. Your body is the most intelligent thing. As a matter of fact, our nails are growing, our hair is growing, our heart is beating, and we cannot interfere. So this is a really intelligent instrument that we're living. So love it, see how miraculous it is, play with it, be grateful, have an intimacy with it, explore your senses, and see life as a playful, not serious, sensory experience that is temporarily. So make the best out of it.
And those that feel called to twirl, start twirling.
Exactly.
Right? I'm excited to twirl. I want to see how long I can go.
Spinning and whirling and twirling and shaking and sounding.
Yeah.
Just use your body.
Yeah.
We'll be in a much playful place.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Raha. It's been a true honor. Until next time, you're always welcome back on the podcast.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. And until next time.
All right. Until then.
Take care.